Please, if you have any questions for Brian Fitzherbert, who has just announced his, threw his hat in the ring. I love this. I absolutely love it. Brian, what are your goals? I mean, if somebody was to say, okay, sit down, write out a list of what your goals are for the 2nd District of South Jersey, what would number one be?
To have representation again, where we have someone that is the vehicle for the constituents here that's going to support the president. The president has put basically a planned policy in place, and that's his slogan, is Make America Great Again, right? We need to have supporters that are going to go after and fight for those for President Trump. And in South Jersey in particular, look, the economy's taken off elsewhere, and we need to make sure that South Jersey gets up to that position with the rest of the country. And that means leveraging the tools and the assets that we have here in the district, i.e. the tech center. We've talked about in the past about the application and opportunity for drone development from a commercial standpoint, which is why Cape May County is trying to develop their own UAS program. And every September they have a UAS conference where they invite industry and they invite those representatives, not just from New Jersey, but from across the country, to try and develop that more, because there's so much opportunity that can be done. It's just one of many legs that can be done, that we can develop here, because we have great industries here, but we need to be able to diversify. And one of the challenges that we have, not just in South Jersey, but a larger whole as in the state of New Jersey, is cost of living, taxes, and everything from a state level, where Governor Murphy has continued his onslaught on the Garden State, making it unaffordable and creating an escalated exodus out of the state. Because what happens? We have great schools here. We have young people like myself that are here, and you know what? They find opportunities elsewhere because it's easier, or it's not as expensive. Paying for everything under the sun, from apartment rent to health insurance, everything. It's very costly to be here. So what happens? They leave. And as a result, the parents or the grandparents that want to see their kids, they may change their mind about staying here. They may move to the Carolinas, they may move to Delaware, or to be in Florida with other snowbirds that have made that a point of exit from the Northeast. And they want to be with their families. So we need to be able to make this competitive again. And part of that is leveraging the assets that we have. Again, the tech center, something that former Congressman Lobiondo was instrumental in making sure was kept here, and that operations kept going for that expansion. Obviously, in recent weeks, the Atlantic County Freeholder Board has been very responsible for the research park that's been developed and the first building being opened a few weeks ago, and we need to continue to build on that so that we can not only attract those aviation and defense contractors, other aerospace companies, but those that support those companies up and down the supply chain, because you can continue to build and expand that way. And what happens? There's attraction, more companies come in. And how do you do that? New Jersey is a very difficult business environment. You're not going to be able to compete with a state like Texas or Kansas. However, you can compete with other deeper blue states like Connecticut, like Massachusetts, like Illinois and California, and try to attract those companies to come here and say, hey, look what we have here. We have some ridiculous technology and next-gen tech that can take us to the next level. And only 2 places in the entire country have what the Tech Center has down the road, and it's here and it's in Oklahoma. And we need to be able to leverage that and continue to build on, obviously, what the Atlantic County Freeholders have done thus far, with County Executive Denny Levison leading that charge, along with the other freeholders. We need to continue to build on that, and that's just one piece. We need to also make sure that we're standing up for law enforcement. We need to make sure that there's that rule of law. Obviously, with Governor Murphy trying to institute sanctuary city and sanctuary state policies, that's going to bother a lot of people, because we are a nation of laws. We need to enforce those laws, and the president is right. We need a physical barrier, and it's not just a physical barrier. We need a wall. We need to build a wall, and if those that do not believe that a wall does not work, go ask Saudi Arabia, go ask Jordan, go ask Israel. Israel knows whether or not a scorpion is within inches of their wall, and it's to protect. It's to protect us, and you bring it down, as we've talked in the past, to a smaller scale, local level, in sense of your house. We all have doors and locks on our apartments, our homes, etc. And we do that because we want to protect what's in there. What happens if someone comes down your driveway, comes into your house, and just starts sitting in your house? I'm gonna live here, and guess what? You're gonna give me food. You're gonna give me health care. You're gonna give me education. No sane person would accept that, and it shouldn't be at a housing level. It shouldn't be at a local level. It shouldn't be at a state level. And it shouldn't be at a national level. And that doesn't mean that we're not for immigration. Unfortunately, the left and the Democrats have blurred the line between illegal immigration and legal immigration. And unfortunately, we need to continue to push to support the president. And he's given many, many opportunities to work with the Democrats when he had control of all three, the White House, the House, and the Senate, as well as now with the Democrats in control of the House. And they don't want to make a deal because, A, that gives President Trump a win, B, that takes away a wedge issue from the Democrats that they will use to rally the base. And, this is why progress and this is why things don't get done. And we have individuals that campaign on having 30 years of experience and getting down in D.C. On day one and being able to get things done, and nothing's been done. And there's no representation, and there doesn't seem to be an inkling or an interest to continue to represent us here in South Jersey.
Do we have to worry about voter ID here in New Jersey?
So voting is obviously becoming a very important aspect for everyone to pay attention to. Obviously, with vote-by-mail laws being instituted and obviously seeing the repercussions of that in the past 2018 election, as well as, you go to the DMV, you update your driver's license, and then you register to vote. The governor is trying to push and be successful in getting illegal immigrants to get driver's license. That means they have access to register to vote, and we need to protect those institutions because American citizens are supposed to vote, and that's the way it should be kept. And we need to be very mindful of that going forward, and we need to continue to speak up for that because obviously there's been evidence all across the country of instances because people get prosecuted for it, whether or not it's voter registration fraud or someone actually voting multiple times or in multiple states.
Yeah.
Any Google search can find this in recent years. So these are very important things that need to be leveraged in terms of understanding and information going forward, because we need to protect the sanctity of those votes regardless of who winds up winning out on top. And this is what frustrates a lot of people when the Democrats continue to push, as we've talked about in the past, to abolish the Electoral College. Because guess what? They didn't win the Electoral College. Then they want to lower the voting age to 16. They want to allow felons to vote. They want to be able to have other opportunities for illegal immigrants to vote. This is anyone that turns on the news is instantly going to turn it off, because the common sense dictates who would accept this, who would tolerate this. Elections happen every 2, 4, and in New Jersey every year. There are consequences, good or bad, to elections. If you didn't like the outcome, work harder and make a better position and argue the issues that you think are ones that people can relate to.
I know, but there are so many people that are ignorant of the candidates that run, particularly in those pockets that we read about that are impoverished, terrible school systems, teachers that can't even speak grammatically correct. And you think to yourself, the people who are there and who are supposed to be representing them have done such a terrible job. They have really not promised much, except I'll give you $50 for your vote, and sent people in and really allowed their districts to go to waste. What do you do to change that? I mean, you're only one person, and you're talking about the 2nd District. And we have our own problems here in the 2nd District, the opioid epidemic being one of the major ones, our foreclosure rate being another
Atlanta
huge
County
one.
is still the most foreclosed county in the nation, and here we are in 2019.
Yeah, and I don't know what people are doing for this, but I am, for me, it's a question of simply doing the right thing for your constituents.